sorry, I'm so sweaty. I cycled and I just... Oh, I thought it was going to take 10 minutes. It took like 25. I'm so hot. Sorry, do you mind if I just...
Yeah, do you want a gin or something?
You know what this is about?
Just
Darling,
get the gin.
I've told you, turn off your phone. Turn off your phone. Turn it off.
Do you have a kind of
sorry,
a gin that you like? Do you like
Thank
Hendrix?
you so
Or
much.
is it like the goose?
Yeah,
Greg, I went to get a programme.
well, apparently
£5
Billington
programme.
gave it 3 stars, so...
I can look you all up
I'll
on
probably love it.
Wikipedia or IMDb. I don't need a programme. I like the programme, and it's £5. I mean, it's just so expensive. You wouldn't get this at the National.
When will they learn to make movies for girls? Maybe we just give it 20 minutes and see how we feel.
£3
Yeah,
for
I'm
pork
happy
scratchings.
I'm really busy.
I've never seen
I'm so
one.
exhausted. Do you reckon they're on a date? Do you think they're brother and sister? I think they're on a date.
Oh my god, it's Benedict.
Sorry.
Oh my god. Shall I go over and say
I'm
hello?
just, 42B.
No, I'm not talking.
Sorry.
No, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the pork scratchings.
Sorry. Yeah, I think I'm just... Cool. Sorry. I almost tripped over your bag.
I was the lead in my school play.
Can you believe it? This was £10. £10. One gin and tonic.
The queue.
Absolutely. I mean, I did still
Heloise
buy it.
was
Yeah. Oh my god,
really
hi!
long
It's been ages. Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh,
So
no, I
good
forgot
to see
about
you.
that, sorry.
Do you know how long this is?
I just...
So rude.
No,
I can't believe he said that to you.
Right, I need to know what
I
time.
thought we were having a nice night at
might
the theatre.
leave. Shh. It's starting. Enjoy the show. December 1999. The sun sets and blows away the last cobwebs of the 20th century. The world gathers and holds its breath to see what the new millennium will bring. Some people believe the world will end, but most people just hope for change, innovation, possibility.
He'd been playing with his dolls, a small boy wishing to shimmy like Britney and go to magic school like Harry Potter. He knows all the words to Baby One More Time, but can't yet write his name. He'd been asking his mum for months, and she finally bought him his own Barbie for Christmas. He named her Sheila. She has pink boots. He loves them. His name is Michael. He's 5 years old. For their New Year's Eve party, his mum is wearing a black velvet slip dress with some crystal-encrusted kitten heels. she looks wonderful. Michael is hoping that he'll be allowed to stay up until Big Ben strikes 12. He's never been up that late before. He wonders what the world will look like at that time, if he'll even be able to recognise it. His mother is carefully preparing a special dessert for the party, butterscotch angel delight. But she's going to put some mint on top and call it ange de lis. She reckons people will be impressed if it's French. They are. Michael sneaks into his mother's wardrobe. He is surrounded by shimmering fabrics, bright colours, rainbows of joy, shoes so high, if he put them on, he thinks he'd be able to touch the stars. He selects a scarf, a hat, a dress. He puts them on carefully, holding his breath. He turns around. He looks in the mirror.
Hello, Princess Michael. You really are very pretty. He greets himself, admires himself. He puts on a CD. He dances. He twirls and twirls and twirls. He is happy. Maybe the happiest he has ever been. But he can't say for sure. He is only 5. What the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm a princess. For the party. He stutters, his mouth partially covered by his mother's fuchsia silk pashmina. Michael's mother looks at him, at his dress, at the lipstick he tried to put on neatly, but it was much smudgier than he'd expected.
Take it off.
And Michael feels this small.
When Michael's father gets home, he asks why Michael's face is red and blotchy and why he won't eat his dinner. He wet himself. He's fine.
Michael's mother replies as she serves dinner. Chips and fish fingers and baked beans. Michael's favourite.
Michael's mother often lies to his father, but that's another story.
Why did you lie?
Some things are better left unsaid. Michael's mother could have said,
Or.
I'm sorry.
Or.
One day, you'll understand.
But she doesn't. She stays silent.
Michael's father comes back in from the kitchen, licking baked beans from his knife.
I stole Mummy's things.
It tumbled out of his mouth before he could even think about it.
He just wanted to make it better. And it's not the truth. It's just a simplified version.
As a reward for being so honest, Michael's father lets him stay up till midnight.
But Michael decides to go to bed. He doesn't really feel like it.
As he lies there, he thinks about what happened. About the dress and the joy. About his mum and the lie. He can't work out how to remember it. If it was a happy or a sad moment. If he should feel free or ashamed. If he should just forget about it.
Michael is 12. He's on holiday with his family. They go every year to a small fishing village off the coast of France, Trevis-sur-Mer. Population, 4,864. It normally rains quite a lot in Trevis-sur-Mer, on average 252 days of the year. But his dad enjoyed saying, Bonjour, ça va, merci, les poissons sont bien. And so they go every year.
His dad would relax on holiday. He'd drink a lot of Vin Rouge, and Michael would hear his parents shouting late into the night. But that's another story.
He had a group of friends who also went there every summer. Gemma, who always wore her hair in 2 perfect little pigtails. Eleanor, with her butter wouldn't melt child model big brown button eyes. Jimmy, who had cheeks like watermelons and loved Manchester United. And some others who he couldn't really remember.
Jimmy and Michael were the greatest of friends. Michael looked forward to seeing Jimmy every time the annual holiday came around. Friday 18th, August 2006.
It was a day when it wasn't raining. Jimmy and Michael were walking to the end of the beach. They walked to get away. They talk of home and complain about their dads. They walk and hands accidentally brush against thighs. They walk and talk and talk and walk. Jimmy looks around and asks Michael if he's ever kissed anyone before. Michael bats his eyelashes, surprised, scared, curious. Not yet. He's never really felt grown up enough to kiss someone, but in that moment, well, maybe he is a man, not a boy. So Michael closes his eyes and hopes. 1, 2, 3. They move towards each other and Jimmy kisses Michael and Michael kisses Jimmy. The kiss is like the books and the films and the songs, shimmering, bright rainbows of joy. It was there, in Trevis-sur-Mer, on the beach with Jimmy, that Michael had his first kiss.
Except that's not what really happened. Jimmy didn't kiss Michael, and Michael did not kiss Jimmy. The truth is, Michael's first kiss happened when Michael was playing.
Spin the bottle.
He played with Pigtails Gemma, child model Eleanor, and Man-U Jimmy, and the others he couldn't remember. They were grown-ups now, after all. They were 12. It was time they knew about kissing.
Michael isn't sure if he's grown up or not. He thinks he's not a boy, not yet a man.
If you haven't kissed anyone, you're a prude, Pigtails cries as she primes the empty Coke bottle. Everyone gathers, trying to play it cool, but equally terrified and excited about what is about to happen. Except for Michael, who...
Well, I've kissed someone, Michael stutters before he thinks about what he's saying.
Who?
Asks Pigtails, who's always the first to stick her nose in places where she really shouldn't.
You're a liar!
Michael knows he is not a liar, because last week he broke his cousin's Tamagotchi and he owned up to it right away, even though he knew he'd probably be grounded. But he stays silent.
Spin the bottle. Spin, spin, spin. It lands on Michael. Spin, spin, spin.
Jimmy! Michael bats his eyelashes, surprised, scared, curious.
This is a surprise. Michael wasn't expecting this.
Michael looks at Jimmy, tries to work out what he's thinking.
Do I have to?
Michael is thrown.
It's weird.
No, please no.
Kiss, kiss, kiss. And you have to touch tongues 3 times or it doesn't count.
It is awkward, embarrassing. Not what Michael imagined. But they inch towards each other and 1, 2, 3. Jimmy kisses Michael and Michael kisses Jimmy. The shimmering bright colours are slightly muted and there are some clouds in the sky, but the rainbow of joy peeps through. It was there, in Trevis-sur-Mer, on the beach with Jimmy, that Michael had his first kiss.
Except, that's not what really happened. Jimmy didn't kiss Michael, and Michael did not kiss Jimmy. The truth is that Michael's first kiss happened when Michael was playing.
Spin the bottle.
With Gemma, Eleanor, Jimmy, and the others. It is rather embarrassing if you haven't kissed anyone by the age of 12. You really can't call yourself a grown-up if you haven't. Not a proper one, anyway.
But he's not a boy. Not yet a man.
If you haven't kissed anyone, you're a prude.
Well, I've kissed someone.
Who?
Asks Pigtails, who is always the first to stick her nose in things that she really shouldn't be, considering she's the youngest and definitely hasn't kissed anyone.
Spin the bottle. Spin, spin, spin. It lands on Michael. Spin, spin, spin.
Gemma! Michael bats his eyelashes. Surprised, scared, curious. Do I have to?
That's the point of the game, says point of the game, Gemma.
No, please, no. I don't want to.
He could have told that to the group, or...
Oh, look at the time.
Or...
I don't think I'm ready.
But he doesn't.
He stays silent.
Kiss, 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 and you have to touch tongues 3 times or it doesn't count.
It is awkward, embarrassing. Not what Michael imagined. Gemma lunges at Michael. Gemma kisses Michael, and Michael closes his eyes and counts 1, 2, 3. He looks for the shimmering bright colours, the rainbow of joy he's been imagining, but they are just
out of view. When Gemma, with the 2 pigtails, goes home, she tells all her friends about her first kiss. He was older, she blushes, using her maths textbook to fan her face for a demure effect which she thinks must make her look very sophisticated. It doesn't. He read poetry to me on the beach, and he's done a bit of modelling.
Wow. Was it Shakespeare?
asks Amira, who knew everything about Shakespeare because she'd watched 10 Things I Hate About You.
No, Bedelia.
They sigh, they coo, they smile. They're excited, delighted, united in their love for Gemma's story. But that night in Trevis-sur-Mer, Michael doesn't finish his steak frite.
Which is unusual for Michael. His mother asks him if he's okay.
He's fine, really. But she knows.
He tells her how it was a bit awkward. Though, of course, he spares her the full details.
No one's parents need to know the full details of something like that.
You don't have to hold on to it, she tells him. When Michael goes back to school, all of his friends want to know about his first kiss. Was it romantic and marvellous and just like what you hear?
So he tells them what they want to hear. They're excited, delighted, united in their love for Michael's story.
On the 17th January 2008, it started raining. A rain that started as a drizzle, then turned into a spitting, then into a downpour. It rained and rained for days and nights and days and nights.
It was a scientific phenomenon. Scientists published countless theories as to why the rain wouldn't stop.
Some people said it was the recession.
They were called catastrophists. Some people said it was climate change.
They were called delusionists.
In January 2008, Michael was soggy.
I'm sorry, but you've got to come and live with us now.
Her lips have the same slightly crooked quality as Michael's mother, and everyone he knows says they look alike. But Michael still struggles to see the resemblance between his aunt and his mother. I don't want to. Michael looks her dead in the eyes as he says this. He's almost as tall as her. I want to stay at home.
You can't. You can't live by yourself. You're only a boy. But you're going to have to be very grown up.
Michael didn't get on with his aunt and uncle. They were older. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It was just that they didn't understand things like personal space. He overheard them say things like,
Ungrateful boy.
or,
Little nitwit.
or,
A burden. And it rained, and rained, and rained.
Michael's parents had died. Car accident. At least, that's what his aunt said. It seemed like the sort of freak thing that happened in books, not to real people. Maybe it was.
But this was really happening, and he had to face up to it.
He wished that it was another story, not his own. But his parents definitely weren't answering his calls, so he guessed it must be true.
And it rained, and rained, and rained.
There was another problem. His aunt and uncle had a son. He was a similar age to Michael, but the similarities stopped there. Michael thought he was
The worst thing that ever happened to me, Michael's cousin Duncan shouts back up at him, his seventh chin wobbling at the strain and excitement of trying to shove an oozing donut into his greedy mouth. We talk about you. We hold conferences, Mummy and Daddy and I. We talk about how we can get rid of you.
That's very honest.
It's just the truth, Duncan splutters back.
Michael wonders if that makes it okay, if Duncan's allowed to be mean, if the truth is more important than feelings.
And it rained, and rained, and rained. His aunt and uncle stop him from seeing friends on weekends. You need to earn your keep.
He stays hopeful. He'll be okay. Play another Britney song, Michael.
His aunt and uncle forget his birthday. He is 16.
He stays hopeful. He'll be okay. Play another Britney song, Michael.
2 weeks later, Duncan gets 36 presents for getting a B on his maths test.
He'll be okay. Play another Britney song, Michael.
He misses his parents. Their absence feels like a huge pit in his body. All other emotions lost deep at the bottom. Faintly stirring. Unable to get out.
My loneliness is killing me. But I must confess, I still believe.
If he had a bedroom of his own, it might have been all right. The problem is, he doesn't like living in the cupboard under the stairs. And so, one day, Michael locks himself in his cupboard. Fed up with it all. This is it. He's going to do it. A sniffle, a sob, a cry.
A cry, and Michael's friends shriek with laughter as he impersonates his aunt.
No, Duncan, remember what the doctor said. Terry's chocolate orange is not one of your 5 a day.
He stole one of her lipsticks especially for the full effect. Michael often tells his friends at school about his aunt and uncle and horrible cousin Duncan. His aunt is the Green Witch, his uncle Scrooge, and Duncan, well, he's just Duncan. But he's so nasty that he can be just Duncan, and still, everyone knows how horrible he is.
I'm telling Mummy.
It's just the truth. Michael is not sure how Duncan even knows that he said that. It is almost like Duncan is purposefully eavesdropping on him to try and get him into trouble.
I'm not.
At break time, Michael's friends come up to him and ask him if he has any new stories.
He tells them about the time when letters arrived with his name on them, and his uncle tried to hide them and was so happy when it got to Sunday.
Best day of the week. No post on Sundays.
Yet the letters still came. They must have been important, but he hadn't been able to read them yet. Maybe they were from his mum and dad, now living on a Greek island and running a hotel, waiting for him.
He tells them about his earliest memory, New Year's Eve, 1999. How he was allowed to wear one of his mother's dresses and stayed up till midnight and twirled and twirled and twirled. He tells them about his first kiss with Jimmy on the beach in Trouville-sur-Mer.
He tells them about the time when he was sent to bed without any dinner by his aunt for forgetting to put his shoes on the shoe rack, and how, as he lay hungry, he could hear the rain gathering into a huge storm, which was so powerful it lifted the house from its foundations. The 2 up, 2 down flew into the sky, hovered, then landed and squished his aunt flat. You could still see her legs sticking out from underneath the front door. Michael bet she wished she hadn't worn those awful stripy tights.
They asked Michael how he survived. Well,
He pauses. He considers. He smiles.
I was protected by my shoes, my ruby red slippers.
Michael's friends loved his stories, and Michael had many friends because of his stories. But perhaps the most extraordinary thing of all was that these stories were true. Somehow, to his friends, that made them even more unbelievable.
And Michael felt
It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The rain eventually stopped at 2:33 p.m. on Monday, 25th February 2008. It was a meteorological phenomenon. Scientists are still trying to work out what caused it. Time passed and it rained again. And it stopped again. And as for Michael, well, he...
always told the truth.
Or...
Still owns those ruby red slippers.